you say you're well connected in the community, so you've been doing this a long time, making movies
And really not that much making movies.
okay,
I started more on the analysis side
okay,
because I've used movies in geography classes and anthropology and the cultural studies a lot.
okay. Movies about other cultures or documentaries.
Yes,
or,
documentaries, but also commercial movies. And
okay,
how do commercial movies portray other cultures, and what are they getting right and what are they
I
getting
see.
wrong? And I've had a movie watching club, movie analysis club at Fairview for 10 years.
Yes,
And it really was the kids that came to me and said, we really want, 10 years ago it was more difficult to see stuff. There was no Netflix back
Right.
then, and
right,
kids couldn't walk in and rent any movie they wanted in Blockbuster or the
right,
video station that has everything.
right.
So they said, how about if we have you rent some movies that we really want to see, and we stay after school and watch some movies and then talk about them.
Okay.
So it's driven by the kids. And that's a great opportunity. Yeah,
And they
that's
knew
a
you
great
liked
idea.
movies because of your classes.
From
that you
talking
did.
in class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then that became when I really did it for more than just kind of a lark or a little thing for class. That there's really a lot of stuff we can do with those.
Yeah. Part of the thing for class for you, when we talked about this before, is your sense that kids are more visually oriented than, I suppose, word or writing oriented.
The text, yeah, the printed text rather than movie as text,
Yeah.
and they see movies are their most common text.
Yeah.
And I do the calculation of by the time you graduate from high school, you've spent roughly between 14 and 15,000 hours in school. In that same amount of time, the average American kid has seen 45,000 hours of movie, TV, computer, video games.
Yeah.
So there's a factor of 3 more time in that kind of media,
Yeah.
and we still beat them over the head with a textbook for 12 years
Yeah.
and throw up our hands in dismay that they don't like books
Yeah.
and they don't like literature. They don't like that analytical part of academia.
Mm-hmm.
And so, well, somebody's missing a major boat here, and I don't think it's the kids. And we're doing something wrong in the educational system, that just the media have shifted. And it's clear that those that are printed text literate are more likely to be successful. For people who are not going to go be media producers,
Right.
people have other kinds of jobs. You've got to be text skillful. And so they need that kind of tech skill too. But we know people are video conferencing now, and they're doing training systems are not live anymore. They're all done with videotapes or not DVD that you set up for your employees, and that's all about video, film literacy. And we as a school don't prepare them for that at all.
I suppose there's controversy within the ranks about whether you should, go along with the trend or maintain the firm resistance against this diminishment of our culture.
The old guard's always there fighting. But what is the saying that experience and treachery will always overcome youth and enthusiasm?
There you go.
Or something like that. It's going to be pretty intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because it's everything. It's film analysis, film history, film theory, and film production. And film, it's video. It's digital video.
What stimulated you to do this? I mean, you could kind of coast home at this point, I suppose.
Some people would suggest stupidity.
Yeah, possibly.
But then I've rarely been totally hesitant to hang my ass out over the line and see what hits it.
Okay.
So it's originally I'd made a pitch to teach the 1 semester video production class.
Which had been on the curriculum before?
It'd been there, done for years,
Okay.
done not particularly well by
Okay.
people who didn't really know anything about it. It was in their department and they volunteered, that
Okay.
kind of thing.
Right.
And from listening to a lot of kids that were not happy with that situation, because what happened was the kids who really knew it ended up really teaching the class but not learning anything themselves because they already knew it,
Yeah.
and the teacher wasn't able to direct them to better quality stuff. And I just thought that should be better.
And you would get to know this because people know you make
Oh,
movies?
the
or-
kids come and talk to me a lot
Okay.
about that, and they'd just been dissatisfied for several years. And it does also have there's a big writing component, and the concept is over the course of the 2 years, kids are working in teams. So they'll be teamed for one project, and then the teams will reassemble in different configurations. But throughout the course, there's a period where they have to be the director, they have to be the writer, they have to be the sound guy, they have to be the lighting person, they have to be the camera person, they have to be the editor. So they're going to rotate those roles.
Mm-hmm.
So they get a flavor
Yeah.
of all kinds of filmmaking.
Yep.
But in their individualized projects, then, that they submit to the International Baccalaureate, they can say, I'm submitting this as the director of this film,
Yes.
or I'm submitting this final film as the writer of the
Yeah, I
film,
see.
so they can play to their strengths or their interests.
Right, I see.
But it's so wide open. We're going to attract kids that more in the acting side of it, in the technical editing side, people who want to learn how to do special effects. There's a lot of room for specialization for it too in there.
Yeah. So you've learned to do these things on your own. I mean, plus your son is connected to the business in some way, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but based on hands-on messing with your own things. I mean, have you taken any formal coursework in filmmaking or any of these things?
Not like a college class or a dedicated
Yeah.
film school thing.
Uh-huh.
What I have done is, first worked on this production, but I have been working with a bunch of other independent projects in Boulder
Okay.
over the last year and a half.
Other people who are making films.
Yeah, they're
sure.
doing. So I'm holding reflectors, I'm
Cool.
setting lights, and
Yeah.
getting that practical side a little bit more.
Right. Right.
And I am on the edge of making some more stuff myself. I'm not much driven by money.
Mm-hmm.
I've rarely, really rarely, done something just for the money.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it was in my field, there are times if the big thing for me is it's got to be something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And if it isn't interesting, if I do it, it's probably not going to be that great a job. And you also find out that the real world often doesn't really care that much whether the job is really great or not. But I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And if it isn't interesting, then I really don't want to do it. So I'd rather do something interesting that makes a little bit of money than
Yeah.
just go out and get a job for the money part. So I'm plenty willing to do something just because it's of interest to me.
The kids who are going to take this class, I mean, what do you picture? Do you think that they're going to be looking for a break from the rigors of the IB program? Or?
I hope not.
Yeah.
They will be surprised if that's their plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Who's going to do this? I mean, do you think it's going to be people who want to study film when they go to university, or people who are just saying, look, I'm tired of taking the same English classes and the same biology classes, and just, is there something else I can do? What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, part of the reason it was the administration that came to me to say, well, instead of just that little intro to video class, we really need to improve the scope of the classes we offer here within the IB program.
Yeah.
And the place where we're noticeably weak is in the arts side.
Okay.
So we've got all these heavy science and math
Right.
classes and
Yep.
some of those, but we need to improve the arts side.
I'm curious about people who think about studying film when they go to university. It never crossed my mind. I never would have thought of that. You know.
Never in my mind at that time. And some of them will want to do that, and some of them just they enjoy the medium and they want to know more about movies.
Yeah.
And certainly around Boulder, it's increasingly common to see movies being made,
Uh-huh.
and so they're kind of interested in that part. Film was a major rivals psychology in the '60s, where so many people go to.
Mhm.
Well, how
Yeah.
practical is that to get a psych degree? What are you
That's
really
right.
going to do with that?
That's right.
Well, it isn't really about that.
Yeah.
It's about learning about yourself, and this is part of that.
Yeah.
It actually seems to me like studying film was a specialized area of psychology. So you've got a little technology attached to it, but effectively you're telling people's internal stories and making them visual on the screen, and that's pretty intense psychology
Yeah.
process going on there. And and when kids talk to me about going to film school, I said, well, make sure you take a lot of psychology. Make sure you take some literature, take some ancient Greek literature classes. You got to have that as background, and
Yeah.
because you're just telling people stories there, and you got to have stories to tell. You have to have backgrounds of understanding where the stories come from. And